IVM.
Never before in the history of radio, television, film or dance bars has there been a show like The Seen and the Unseen. Well, it's mostly about the scene because who knows what the unseen is. It's a podcast hosted by Amit Verma. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app or wherever you get your podcast from. Kripaya dhyan dijiye. The language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All right, it's time to take Cyrus Says to another level. It's called Cock and Bull, CNB, which is also Cyrus and Brocha.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Okay, I've just come back from theatre. Don't ask me why, not being an usher. But I've realized that there's a rule we have to enforce now, and we have to do it as quickly as possible because people are not understanding their civic consciousness in a theatre, which is very simple. If you take the last seat in a row, wall on one side, then you have to come early to the theatre because you can't be the moron who then comes in after everybody else is seated properly, excuse my French, and then you step on the first person, say excuse me to the first person, then you avoid the second person and the third person, but then you think it's, passage of right and you can just keep going, and by the time you reach the last person, you stamp on their toes and just sit down. And I think something has to be done about this. If you're going to be the guy who's taking that last seat, please come early so that you don't inconvenience everybody else. Everybody knows how you feel when you meet that guy. It destroys your mood and the theatre, which of course is not worth talking about in any case. It's called Cyrus Says. No, it's called
Cock and Bull.
Cock and Bull. Cock and Bull. Welcome to Cock and Bull.
And we'll be right back.
And we'll be right back, as my handler tells me.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Careers in the new podcast series presented by Accenture. I'm your host, Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay. In this podcast series, we'll get you the latest and greatest in the world of technology that's shaping the future of business as we know it. We're talking intelligent platforms, cloud, AI, blockchain, extended reality, and a whole lot more. Every fortnight on Wednesdays, we'll have for you a hot topic with expert speakers from Accenture talking about top trends in the space, how these are changing the world and creating growth across industries. And importantly, we'll tell you how you can learn more, build your skills and expertise to grow and stay relevant in your career. Episodes out on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcast from.
All right, handler, Abbas, you're in charge. Mikhail, thank you for coming. And Amit, you're back from America with a fresh perspective.
2 weeks.
Yes, as a Democrat. Last of the Mohicans.
I am.
Too many metaphors.
Well, I guess I am a Democrat because the opposite would mean that you're pro-Trump, which would be really, really...
Not necessarily. Lots of Republicans are very confused.
So there is actually, I just read about this dude today who decided to stand against Trump in the primary. So, ex-congressman and ex-talk radio host.
What's his name?
Fuck, I should know this. It's the
Fuck,
same
I should know this.
It's the same as the Eagles guitarist.
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh. Not
yes.
bad, Abbas.
Yes.
I knew the Eagles guitarist, yeah.
Huh?
I knew the name of the Eagles guitarist.
Wow.
I googled him in the morning and I saw the picture.
No. Now you've got to sing Eagle songs for us.
No,
to
thanks.
show that there's a true connection. Come on.
Once you check in, you can never leave.
Everybody knows.
And that's not
John,
You can
accurate.
check in anytime you
New
want.
Kid in Town. Sing New Kid in Town.
I have never heard New
So
Kid
you're not
in
really an
Town.
Eagles
I'm
lover.
not.
The fuck
I only know
off. Never mention Eagles again. What kind of rubbish is that?
I only know Don Henley and Joe Walsh.
Not bad. Not bad. You're just a freak who likes to have information.
You don't know Glenn Fry?
Oh yeah, Glenn Fry as well.
Very good. Okay, what about vultures? Let's move to other birds. Guys, I began with this very painful thing.
Yes.
If you're entering a theatre and you're sitting on that last seat, shouldn't you be in there early?
I
Because you
agree,
can't
but I
cross
think
so many
it's
people.
an argument more for the fact that the aisle should be narrower.
Does this?
There should be more
No. You're
aisles.
getting the proprietor off here. Okay, badly put.
No, I'm getting the proprietor. I'm putting the proprietor at
Responsibility on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's say that now can't be done. That's just too big a thing because they will reconstruct things and all that, or remove the seats which they won't do. I'm saying, shouldn't the guy say, okay, I've taken that seat, so I need to not inconvenience everybody?
I wonder.
Does this apply to on a flight and the window seat?
Slightly, yes, but it's only one person generally, or maybe two, that you're going to inconvenience. Here, you're talking about 12, 13 sometimes. It's a lot of people, man. And there's old people, young people, fat people, all that. It's not fun. And he only says excuse me generally in the beginning. After that, he just steps on everyone. Because he's tired. By number 4, he's tired. He just can't do it anymore. He's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And he says... I think these are little things we should keep just think about it sometimes.
This is one of the reasons
Maybe
why...
they can make it cheaper.
No, but this is why
the
going to
wall
movies
seat
sucks.
Yeah, but the wall seat should be cheaper.
But if the wall seat is cheaper, then at that point in time, you're asking the cheapest guy to come earliest?
Yeah, and have the highest standards of etiquette.
I gave you 50% off, highest standard of etiquette, and come on time. I think it's a package deal. 1 popcorn free. All right. Awkward
I'm just
we ran out of conversation with the Eagles.
As it is, we get the South Bombay elitist thing coming, and then we have this, and we throw in that.
You have to be proud of who you are. Don't pretend to be somebody else.
I'm not.
You got to act like you're leftist when you're born and raised in Walkeshwar. It's really difficult. No?
I am not. I absolutely agree. The South Bombay elitist.
Yeah, so let them abuse us, but at least we'll die.
But at least we should make lip service to the idea that hey, we understand other people's problems.
I've tried that in marriage. You don't do that. It's a huge cross to bear.
You should pretend, man. I mean,
I pretend all the time.
It's polite to pretend that you can.
Sometimes I pretend to pee. So the guy next to me in the urinal leaves. So I actually make peeing sounds because I get nervous when people pee next to me.
Can you please recreate the sound? Because
I'm doing it. So let's call him Raju. It's always a Raju. Raju is standing here and he's taking long time and my pee's not coming out because I don't like people proximity being violated when I'm peeing. And then so I go.
Do you vary flow ever?
I do vary. I'm very creative, very imaginative with lots of time. I take my time over the whole pee thing. And then the guy leaves and then my peak happens. It's like the Niagara, just boom, comes out. Sorry. Don Henley, sorry.
We didn't introduce Mikhail properly. He hosts a show called What a Player.
Oh, yeah. God, I'm so sorry we didn't introduce you properly. It is my fault. I'm like that guy who comes into the entire row, steps on your toes and goes to the last.
Yeah.
So you do a show called?
I do a show called What a Player. Out every Wednesday. W for Wednesday, W for What a Player.
Wow. Except in German. In German, is it What a Player? What would it be exactly?
Let's not confuse people with the spelling. The spelling is complicated enough as it is. Do you want to spell it out for people?
What a Player. WADDAPLAYAH. I got it right.
You got it right. What a player.
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen. What's it about?
It's about, we discuss all sorts of sports. I have 2 other co-hosts and we are all comedians. And so we have our own stupid but expert take on all sports.
Comedy in sports. In other words, Arnab being Harsha. I like it. Count me in. Sign me in for season 2.
More or less, yeah.
All right, and we will talk about Comic Sans at some point. I don't know where.
There is AMA people have been writing a lot about Comic Sans. But before that, the news that dominated the headlines was the Amazon fires that have been...
Kunal asked me whether it was in the head office. I'm not lying. My Kunal, he actually asked me because we were discussing this, what story to go with in the week, and I said, what are the Amazon fires? Pretty big. Was it a head office? I said, I'm not sure whether the forest has its own separate, Yeah.
So
I'm sure many people made this song.
Yeah.
Come on.
Everybody's like the wrong Amazon.
How can the environment which costs you nothing come next to Amazon? Come on.
More than 74,000 fires across Brazil this year, nearly 40,000 fires across the Amazon. There is a political element to this. The President Bolsonaro, it is said that these are...
You make him sound like a boy from Bandra.
He sounds like a pasta actually.
Bolsonaro. I grew up with him. Bhagwan Stevens with me, man.
That these fires have been deliberately caused because he wants to give that land.
You know the conspiracy theory of Amit, no? There is no conspiracy.
Yeah, more than 3 people can't keep a secret. So the Amazon forests count for about 20% of the world's oxygen.
Is that true?
Yeah,
that's not true.
Oh shit!
That was very hard to believe.
What kind of people are on this show? Let's do Water Player. It's not working, man.
Okay, it's time for Water Player, guys. Welcome to the show.
Abbas sets it up so nicely. Amit says not true. What the hell?
No. So I mean, the Amazon fires are massively important. That there should not be this kind of forest clearing and stuff like that. But having said that, I mean, there's a lot of overblown stuff as well, right? The lungs of the world and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, relax. It's a forest. There are lots of forests in the world.
Yeah, what is this?
Wow. We lost our environmental sponsor. We've lost our environmental sponsor for life.
It is not a forest, it's the
forest.
forest.
It is a forest.
Amit doesn't care about the green, he cares about the green.
No, but so
there are many greens.
So here's the thing, right? I mean, what is the reason for this fire, right? Why are these fires being set? They're not being set for shits and giggles. They're not being set because hey, let me twirl my mustache, I'm an evil villain and I want to set fire to these. Why are these fires being set?
Those were beautiful days, Mikhail.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
No, but these fires are being set because people are trying to earn livings.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not being set for fun. And now,
Like insurance?
Huh?
No, I'm just...
Okay. So I don't really have a point. I'm not like saying that the Amazon fires are great. I'm not saying that it's a good thing that the Amazon fires are
it's not deliberate,
happening.
so let's not just go pointing fingers.
Yeah, no, point fingers. It is deliberate.
But negligence and deliberate are two different things. Negligence is a tough one. It's a grey area.
There's a reason for these things happening, right? And address the problems.
Like my friend Kishan Nerungadi, I'll give you a proper metaphor if I may, just for a second.
What's your friend's name?
Kishan Nerungadi was in class with me. He went to Video Jazz Library. Amit will be familiar with the demographics and the geography here.
Video Jazz, I know.
Video Jazz is on a...
Ultra Jazz.
Yeah, it's on a hill, incline.
Yeah.
And he didn't put the handbrake up. And he went into the library. When he came back, he forgot he had brought the car, so he went home. The beating he got from his father, it went on for 3 days. People came to watch it. It was just going on and on and on because the car went all the way down.
I'm waiting for the part you...
No, I'm saying so now here, what is he guilty of?
This with
He's guilty of negligence, of stupidity. I mean, but he's not a criminal. You know what I'm saying? This is just... It's a different thing.
Yes.
So I think what he's saying also, Amit is saying, is the fires, look at what the reasons are. Their quest to do something good for themselves landed up in more fires being created. So you look at it from that entirety. Right?
That's somewhat my point. I'm not excusing the fires. This is a bad way to do this, right? But at the same time, there are reasons why these are happening, and those reasons are being neglected under this idea that everybody's going, and this Brazil president guy is a nasty guy. I'm not saying he's a good guy either, right? But it's that's the easy narrative that people are kind of picking, that hey, we have this villain in power in Brazil and he is burning the fire. And it's more complicated than that, and to kind
he's
of let
Donald
that
Trump
nuance
of South
go.
America, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's worse than Donald Trump.
He gets a lot of bashing in the press, and it's the same sort of situation.
Donald Trump has like a unaware sort of aspect to his personality, whereas this guy doesn't.
And he has orange hair, but this guy doesn't have orange hair. What's his name?
Bolsonaro,
your personal friend.
Yeah.
Diwali cards every November.
I hope not, because
fire. How ironic is that?
Sorry, I just get really I get annoyed when people make simplistic narratives out of more complicated situations than they are. And this is a complicated situation, which is a bad situation, but it's not that simplistic. It's not as if this guy is going out there and saying, "Let's burn down the Amazon rainforest." There are reasons for this.
Jeff
People need land.
Bezos was very upset when he heard it the first time, the Amazon fires, and he immediately called his lawyer and said, "It's my wife again." But, let's not make light of a very difficult situation. People have died.
Did you hear about Amazon's biggest office in the world? It's now in Hyderabad.
Is it true?
Yes. Hyderabad is their single biggest campus.
How can that be?
They
cheap labor.
16,000 people. Dude, I'm sorry, but you tell people in Amazon that they're getting paid for cheap? I don't think that would be the case.
I mean, compared to a first world country.
Well, yeah.
16,000 people who are now sharing the dormitory, so it's like 8 in a room and all that. It's the Indian experience. So Amazon's going to change. Let's call it Amazon now. Let's get local.
Sorry, this has nothing to do with anything. But
I don't know why you brought it up.
Because you were talking about Amazon.
Unnecessarily irreverent.
You were talking about
follow our conversation.
I know.
Because people aren't drinking when they're... Are they drinking? I don't know. What a player they're drinking. I'm told that
I hope so. I always do better than people.
You make the ching sound of the glasses and want to encourage them. Ching!
The last major update on this was that the G7 nations have pledged $20 million to sort of make up for this, which people are saying is very less, because apparently Leonardo DiCaprio himself has pledged $5 million.
So he's a G7 nation now? Almost. I tell you, if you work hard at your profession, boss, you can really reach...
Someone made the comparison that Netflix paid $100 million to stream Friends.
Wow.
And this is $20 million for the world's lungs.
But if you stream Friends, you can save the forest. I suppose that's the message.
The Friends thing, Robert De Niro, was it? Someone at his company watched 4 seasons of Friends straight in 2 days, so now they're suing him or something like that for negligence at work.
In De Niro's company?
Yeah.
All you have to do is watch De Niro's work. But some of it is more boring than Friends. I'm sure you can get enough out of that. So De Niro's company is suing an employee for watching Friends?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have the exact...
All this while the Amazons are burning in the background.
All this while the Amazons burning. Anyway, let's move on to the next news piece. There was kind of a drama last week when P. Chidambaram was arrested from his house. There was a lot of drama because the whole day we built up...
Yeah, I'll explain the whole thing to you. The wall is about 6.5 feet high. Okay, and the lovely CBI gentleman, I don't know what he was doing. Because the main door was open. He was inside, you could see him. And they went out. They had to climb the wall for some reason. Why did they climb the wall? Is it
because he wasn't coming out?
No, but I think they owed that.
I think they just thought he was next.
It's like they gave him the notice.
Understand.
He didn't give
The notice was given. Okay, let me explain to you.
Yeah.
He was at a public press function.
Right.
The Congress had called for a public press function. So everybody on television knew where he was. After which he came to the house.
Right.
Everybody knew. You don't have to be in the CBI. They called me. Cyrus, can you help us? I'll go get him. It's like that. Get on my cycle and I'll go there. Of course, you shouldn't wear lungi and get on a cycle because it can be painful. I've tried it once in a TV show. It really hits in the wrong place.
Okay.
You got to be careful. But coming back to the story, the drama from both sides, but more so from the CBI, I don't understand what the hell. Why did the man have to climb the wall? And now he set such a high precedent. Every time they chase a guy, they have to find a wall. Kya karega tu? Huh? You're on this bloody place. Sorry, ये मैदान है.
But
मुझे wall चाहिए. Fuck.
It's also theatrics, right? That we won't let any obstruction come to arrest the corrupt.
Yeah. I think out of fear, we don't want to say anything more. Generally, I'm all for getting the corrupt, but the wall thing just blows my mind. I just can't get over the wall, to use a pun. Literally.
Yeah. Do you think Chidambaram?
I mean, did you see it? You were in America.
I wasn't. The wall thing is. I read about the whole I know about the INX. I know about Indrani Mukherjee. I know about all that. Didn't know anything about the wall.
It became like the Rodney King incident or something. Suddenly all the television crews were there. There's a huge thing is happening, and they're waiting outside. It's part 11 of this masterpiece crime fiction serial, and then the guy's in. Why was it so difficult ringing the bell? I just don't get it. They have a warrant. I mean, he was the former law minister. He knows the rules.
Mm-hmm. And if you're confident that he's in, he has to come out at some point. Yeah, right? That makes for more drama. Like, he's in for 36 hours.
You go to the main door and you check everything. I mean, it's a big house, I understand. But, they have a lot of people. They make sense at all.
See, the visuals that we got was they were banging on the gate. The gate wasn't opening. So then they started climbing the walls.
Yeah, the gate is not open in like 5 seconds. I mean, what is the hurry to climb the walls? I just didn't get that.
Yeah, I guess, it
just made the whole thing sound a little silly.
It's theater, right? I mean, it's performative. They want to, as Abbas was saying, they want to kind of demonstrate that no walls will stop us from going after the corrupt, right? I mean, that's all it is.
What are we going to do with China?
Well, what are we going to do with China?
They've got big walls.
Yeah, the Great Wall.
Yeah, how are we going to
climb that? Himalayas.
Himalayas, there are no walls. You're talking about the Himalayas as a fortification.
Yeah.
You're too advanced for me, bro. What a player you turned out to be.
Every Wednesday, guys. Every Wednesday.
Very well done.
Do it with a drink.
Yeah. Do you think Chidambaram is one of many in the coming days from the previous governments who will be picked up like this?
Odd thing has happened. The first time in my, Amit, I don't know if this is correct. You see, generally the politicians have avoided prosecuting politicians. Growing up, I don't remember too many cases where they really go after one. Yeah, there's just across party also in a big way. In a ham-handed sort of namka vaste way it happens.
Yes,
and the noise and all is made and chest beating is made. Pakadega, dal dega, but nothing really happens. There's a brotherhood there. So it's a little odd that now suddenly the present government is going after the so-called opposition now.
So the thing is that, I think in some ways the present government is cognizant of the fact that they are going after an opposition leader in this degree of... with
and a very fairly big one.
And as big as it gets, right? I mean, like...
Home Minister X, Finance Minister X,
proposed Prime Minister...
Supreme Court lawyer, very well-known name, distinguished family.
So the...
Former royal.
Huh?
Former royal,
yeah.
Former royal. Plus, there's a stadium with the same name. Mikhail and I. We did this gag on TV. One of the guys lands up there and trying to arrest the stadium.
No, but I think it's really tough to, when they're going after him with this degree, we don't know what kind of proof they have right now about this stuff, right? The only thing that we know as such is that there were shenanigans in the INX thing. Yeah. But what were the...
And the main accuser is Indrani, a lady who's killed her own daughter.
She's not the accuser.
Apparently she's the one who's implicated Karthi, the son.
She's the one who's basically come up as a witness, right? And again, INX, she was involved in INX, right? So she would be a key witness. And so there's weirdness around that aspect itself. But we don't know enough. I really think we don't know enough. But so this has happened in other countries, right? In South Korea, this happened. I think in the early 90s, mid-90s, something like that.
When Mikhail didn't have water player. It wasn't distributed nationally.
But it is something that has happened in other countries where governments felt like the previous government's corruption scandals were so deep and so pervasive that to actually go after them and to this is kind of important, right? So I think the problem is that in this case, we don't feel like the stone is being thrown by clean hands.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing is they're not buying it. Yeah. Otherwise, actually, it's good that they're prosecuting each other.
Exactly.
It's suddenly because otherwise, that brethren of politician getting away with will just carry on
and paying lip
but now it's the whole thing is it looks like vendetta politics and whatever else.
Will vendetta politics lead to an eventual cleaning? That's one question
because
to ask,
there was no charge sheet initially. My big question of all this was you had Kapil Sibal, you had Abhishek Manu Singhvi, and you had Salman Khurshid. You're looking at three of the biggest names in the business plus himself, Chidambaram. So it'd be like 2 crores a day between the four of them to represent you. Who paid that bill? Come on, tell me. Who paid that bill?
What a question.
Now that's corruption. What a player. All right, we have to take a quick break. Abbas has given us the universal signal of break.
Yeah.
You take your 2 middle fingers from each hand and put them in your ears and shake vigorously like a Rottweiler having a bath, which is not you.
I know. I never expected that.
Mikhail, what a player. We'll be back in a second.
Yes.
So what are you doing, what a player?
Yeah, totally. We talk about sports, we discuss sports, everything.
Is marbles included?
Is?
If there's no marbles, I won't listen.
Marbles is a different show.
There's
That's the
darts.
show called Marbles Lost and Found.
There's a lot of darts. We discuss darts.
That's advanced marbles. What about the third world countries who don't have darts? We only have marbles.
We discuss carom sometimes. Like the World Championship of Carom and shit.
Carom's
That's
for
on
old
there.
people who play marbles. Because you don't have to move at all.
Where do you have to move for carom?
Forget it. Show me your marbles. We'll take a break.
Janice, what do you think couples did before TV was invented?
I don't know, go for walks on the beach, long drives, fancy dinners, have more sex maybe?
But what did we do when we decided to move in together? We debated between the Chromecast and the Fire Stick.
We gave up on sleeping early so we could stay up watching true crime shows.
We got ourselves 3 cat babies.
And basically became the cutest couch potatoes around.
Okay then.
In case you guys still haven't got it, we are a TV crazy, Netflix loving, binge watching Mr. and Mrs.
I'm Anirudh Guha.
I'm Janice Sequeira.
And if like us, you snort TV for breakfast, lunch and dinner, this is the podcast for you.
Tune in every Thursday on the IVM podcast app or wherever it is that you get your podcast from. This is
Mr.
and Mrs.
Binge Watch.
Back again on a show called Cock and Bull, which I keep forgetting. Abbas, of course, is now the anchor. Amit, you came back from America.
I
Quick
came back from
perspective. 2 weeks. Now the world is so global. No? People just go and come back in a few days.
Yeah, I know.
When my parents were young, for example, their friends went somewhere in the 60s.
By ship.
By ship. I mean, the buggers go to Canada. He has to spend 6 months.
Yeah.
How dare he come back? 6 months, you've gone to Canada.
But
You
I
can't
think
come
even
back.
now people look at that, right? Because I went twice in the last 2.5 months, and I went both times for 7 days. And people are looking at me like, why didn't you just stay? And I'm like, dude, what am I going to do there for a month and a half?
7 days all the way to the United States of America.
Huh?
So give us a perspective.
I was
How's
great.
Trump looking?
I went for Podcast Movement, which is a podcasting conference. I did a couple of panels over there. I did a panel with Google Podcasts about what they see as the future of podcasting. I did a panel around podcasts in emerging markets, which is what India would be, an emerging market. Had a really interesting conversation there as well about like what is the future and why regional language podcasts are going to be so important.
Chicks. What happened with chicks?
Chicks is everything.
Podcast. 10 people listening have gone.
For a second,
let's save the show. Tell me the truth. American ladies.
I don't know what to say about that. I was working.
I thought you meant regional podcasts are going to be big because of chicks.
I thought you were saying that. I thought you were saying you should do the regional.
He was selling the movement to me.
The
the industry of podcasts in America. I mean, I don't know how bland that could be.
Hey, it was a really, really fun conference, man. And
the good thing about American conferences, there's always food.
Dude, the 3,500 people over there. No, there was no food. No food. You had to buy everything.
He was hooked onto one thing, Amit. Give him that.
No,
it was organized.
I spent a lot of money on the fucking
Bangladeshi
food.
Bank of Commerce organized this whole damn thing. It's all making sense now. Not even popcorn.
No,
I love American popcorn. So much that big.
No, so we got popcorn, pretzels, and
Mikhail. Pura gaon khila sakte hai. Think about it.
There was a speaker's lounge. In the speaker's lounge, you got free coffee, free popcorn, and free pretzels and free potato chips.
The works, man.
I was like,
Coming from a third world country. This is like a full menu, yeah.
No, but dude, it was a really expensive hotel where they had this thing, right? So I mean, like every meal out was.
And you had to stay there.
Well, they covered a couple of nights. I paid for a couple of nights, but yeah, I had to stay there, and it was freaking expensive, man.
What's the mood in America, politically speaking?
Still, so there's, I think there is delusional happiness. Everybody just assumes Donald Trump is going to lose, and then that is delusional.
And you think that won't happen?
Well, he might lose.
Still
but
a long way to go.
There's a long way to go, but I mean, like this assumption that he's going to lose is stupid, right? Because I mean, there's a reason why he won. Right, and to just assume that because he is such a bonehead, he's going to lose is dumb. Because he was a bonehead before he was
politics
elected.
Doesn't work anymore. You can't subscribe to that.
Bonehead when he got elected, right?
So I mean, like
there's not. So you know, I mean, like this assumption that he's going to lose is just like annoying. Also, there is.
What about India-US politics?
That's
you didn't see the images of that?
Yeah, the handshaking and the hand holding.
Yeah, so
pretty odd, I thought. Pretty awkward. It's for two men to gesture like that to each other. What the hell were they doing? I didn't get it. Either you hug properly like the old days. High five is good.
Fist bump.
fist bump is, I think, too much for statesmen. Hey, we won.
They were the democratic authoritarians over there. They have to do what they have to do, right?
Oh, I see. Yes. Be very careful. You're looking for sponsorship.
I know that.
Behave yourself. All right.
We'll do my best.
But fun trip.
Very fun trip.
All right.
Very fun trip.
And he's a citizen of America, so he can come and go. Not like you and I have to stand in that line, apply, and they say, chutti hai, kal aana, all that.
You know what the best thing about being an American citizen has turned out to be?
You're next to Canada.
No, the immigration line's coming into India.
Oh.
You get to stand in the foreign immigration line.
Is it much better?
Much faster.
And they treat you better also.
Much faster.
Even though you look brown-skinned, they still treat you better.
So it was basically, there were in the Indian immigration line, there were probably like 300, 400 people in line. There were like 12 people in line in the foreign immigration line. It was the best.
Yeah, but we are an emerging economy, no?
Yeah.
Look at it from the right perspective. Mikhail, have you been to America?
No.
You should go. How far have you gone beyond Panvel, to be honest?
London.
You've been to London?
Yeah.
Why did you come back?
My parents took me. I had no choice.
He had to host water.
Why did you Brexit, bitch?
I was there the week of Brexit, actually. I came back.
So was I.
And 3 days later, Brexit, the result was announced.
You were the reason.
Could be. They were like, look at this fucking immigrant.
Like an Indian guy named Mikhail. We are confused.
No, the Mikhails are the ones they hate the most, the Eastern Europeans. We look at it from a racial, political point of view, that was the big issue.
He's a brown guy who's named Mikhail.
He's Estonian. What the hell he is. Nobody cares deeply about race. Once they have the prejudice in mind, it just ends there.
Yeah.
Okay, brother, what are we listening to?
So I thought this would be interesting to discuss. So Arun Jaitley passed away recently. Okay, that's not the topic of discussion. So Navika Kumar, who's a
by the way,
journalist.
I've done 2 events with Arun Jaitley. I don't want to brag. 2 events on stage. And he used to like our show. He actually said,
which
I like. He didn't remember the name. I mean, that's too much. but he did. I was quite happy. I came back. That time he was holding the portfolio of finance minister.
Yeah, so not home minister at the same time.
I think he was. You're right.
Oh,
I think for a little while he had 2 or 3 portfolios.
Yeah, he was
quite prominent at that point. The health issue was not there.
He was to the BJP what Chidambaram was to the Congress.
He was the urban face.
Yes.
English speaking, well educated.
He was one size fits all.
Yeah, well,
let's
save that for another day.
The topic here is, so a lot of people were pointing out his shortcomings or the things that he was criticized for on the day of his death, and a lot of people said this is not the day to discuss that, and there was the counter opinions were saying, why not? If someone
you have to quote Jim Morrison at a time like this: "Death makes angels of us all." Yes, Mikhail. What kind of Mac boy you turned out to be?
I'm a heavy Mac boy.
Yeah. Then what the hell? You quote Morrison or you don't quote Morrison, you leave.
So I'm also a new age Mac boy, so I quote like 50 Cent.
Not Van Morrison. 50 Cent, quote Morrison. Sorry,
should you or should you not? Is it fair game if it's
Amit, what do we do about this? I think if someone dies, you just back off a little bit. Even
I think the day off is excessive.
6 hours at least for comedians.
I think the day off is like, at least give it a couple of days.
Also, see, Arun Jaitley couldn't have been the worst man in the world. So do you really want to go after him when he dies?
No, he was the finance minister when demonetization happened.
But, as crimes go and all that, at the end of the day, there's a bit worse than that. Although I stood in those queues, I must say.
Yeah, everyone stood in those queues.
I mean my mother, so I was really
it's always complicated, right? When somebody who is both admired and reviled dies, it's always complicated. You don't know where.
Yeah, and it can be on the other side of the.
Or maybe they can have it this way. So the opposition gets 24 hours to say what they want, and then back to the ruling party 24 hours. So
if only we had this sort of order, we wouldn't be in this place.
True. You went to London, then you came back. Don't blame your parents. Attack your parents. What's the show called?
What a player.
What a player, man. Next.
There was a bit of a controversy.
You're still going on.
Sticking with this.
I told you
Navika
this is not a topic for the day.
Navika Kumar was a journalist with Times.
We all know who she is.
Yeah, she tweeted out
after
that
Ordnov left, there was another loud voice.
She tweeted out, I have lost my guiding light. Now who will I call every morning? So people as a journalist, you're not supposed to...
Yeah, no.
Not
the smartest thing to do. But you never know if these people are going towards comedy. Because as a comedian, this was funny.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I appreciate the level of optimism people have in journalism even today.
Finally an honest journalist. We finally find an honest journalist.
Why is this a surprise to anybody?
It isn't. That's what I'm saying.
That she was in touch with the BJP on a regular basis is not surprising.
If you needed her to tweet to confirm it, you're kind of slow, man.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that this is that much of a surprise.
Yeah, I'm more interested in Praveen Kumar. What happened to his career?
The bowler.
At one point, yes, the bowler. Who could swing it both ways. A bit of a temperamental issue.
Okay.
Not like Navika. Okay. Navika's not like that at all. Yeah, Abbas, what's up?
Sanjay Dutt may be joining a new party. The party...
Like where you party cocktails and all?
No. The political party called the Rashtriya Samaj Paksha. it's an ally of the BJP.
This is not the best news about this.
But the only place I saw this was the article that you put out. I didn't see this.
How would he do that?
But it was the Indian Express.
It was.
What happens to his sister and everybody else who's fully involved in Congress?
That's what the whole
Doesn't
thing.
make
And he
sense.
was associated with the Samajwadi Party till not very long ago.
If you've served a jail term, are you allowed to run for elections?
Yeah. What the hell's wrong with you, Mikhail?
No, he was stopped from running for elections because he had a standing conviction 10 years ago.
No, I think while you're in jail, you're not supposed to do. I think once you've paid your dues, you're paid your
I think
dues,
he
right?
should be
I
fine.
think, once your judgment has come.
Okay, so a pending conviction bars you from
Something like that.
I think he was convicted and he was under sentence at that point.
No, he had appealed to a higher court.
Pragya Ji is on bail, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Pragya Ji is on bail, right? She's not.
She's not convicted yet.
Not
no?
convicted yet. Not convicted yet.
No, not convicted.
Navika Kumar, where are you? Where are you, Navika?
I apologize. She's not convicted.
Did you see what she said? Her recent mouth.
Morning paper, yeah.
No, she said that some guru told her that the BJP is going to go through a dark time, and which is why all the senior politicians are passing away.
And the
one
dark
by
time
one.
is a result
Two
of...
stalwarts in 10 days? Huh?
And the dark times are a result of the complex Sanskrit word for black magic.
Yeah.
Essentially by the opposition.
Try it, Mikhail, because that'll be a show.
I do.
The whole show is people calling in and trying to say the word. Come on.
The Parliament is becoming like the Ministry of Magic from the Harry Potter series, because it's like black magic.
Okay, so who's Harry Potter and all this? If you want to take this further,
That's a good question.
You don't want to take
I
this?
don't want
Okay,
to take
fair
this.
enough. All right. Because I don't know Harry Potter well enough, so I'm off the hook.
Yeah, I guess. I know it well, but I can't think of a good analog. So,
It's got to work. It can't just be insulting because you think it's funny.
But again, Harry Potter would be the hero of the story. No, there are no heroes, man. That's so sad.
Oh, you cynic.
I know.
You American. You gringo. You come here with your unbelievable cynicism. We are Indians. We will dance at the next wedding. Right?
Yeah.
For a price.
Yeah, it's post-monsoon. It's the best time of the year.
Best time. You get good deals also now. September, October.
Is it post-monsoon?
Yeah, find a girl, but don't get married alone. I tried that. Looks stupid. Mr. and Mrs. Brocha invited to the wedding of their son with whoever the fuck turns up. What's going on, bro?
Another one.
Your stories are
I'm
terrible.
running through them.
Yo, but what the hell? They're all depressing and tragedy.
No, but the Sanjay Dutt one was hilarious. He's going. The party he's planning to join represents the shepherd community.
Oh, is it?
And I want to find out what about Sanjay Dutt fits in with the shepherd community.
And why is Sanjay Dutt wanting to join the shepherd community?
Yes, that's what I have so many questions.
It's both,
Maybe they
right?
honored him with the shepherd-y namaskar or something.
I've not even seen him in a woolen sweater. That's how far away he is from this game.
Why would he have a woolen sweater now? 42 degrees Mumbai.
Anywhere, Switzerland, wherever. But
my point is it really a wing of the BJP? In which case he's against his own family? Which
No,
is
it's an ally. It's an ally.
It's part of the government. It's part of the existing government.
So it's a
they're
way
part
of them switching, you think?
No,
That's
No, it's a way of hedging their bets, I would say.
Fair enough. Balance.
This is a low-profile party for him to switch to, right? If there was a family
How will he be
switch-
low profile? He's a film star. The moment everybody's
No, but
talking about it.
the party itself, right? I mean, like the
Yeah.
guy...
He's bigger than the
It's
party
not
right
the
now.
main BJP. It's like a
It's
offshoot.
And
So the BJP didn't even give him a ticket. They said you have to work your way through the little leagues.
Essentially.
And you have to climb your way up under 14, under 16, under 19.
Essentially.
And then finally
The
play university
60-year-old has to qualify for
He's
the
60,
under
is it?
14.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it says in the article.
60 years old and debut in politics.
Yeah. Not debut, right? He was with the Samajwadi Party.
He had announced.
Yeah, but that was a fail.
I
I mean, him and Amit.
I think he was debarred.
What is it? Amit.
The short guy with the mustache and bald.
What is his surname?
It's Amar Singh.
Yes,
Amar Singh.
yes.
Yes. Please watch it.
Amar Singh and him used to be inseparable.
Yeah. I love Amar Singh's picks.
That guy mysteriously
I just like listening to him. I feel that, the ghazal world has lost a master somehow or the other. And I'll never forget that I had a lovely lady called Sabrina Jani, used to, believe it or not, style us on MTV. Okay. And she came back after she was Abu Jani's sister, so she's a famous designer. And so Sabrina came back and was telling, Bori girl, lovely girl. And I said, I met Amar Singh for the first time. And it was because he's not a very tall man and Sabrina's like 5'11", he was short. And she said, we had a conversation and he looked at me and said, आप तो लगता है female Amitabh Bachchan.
Just because she was
complimenting
tall.
her. No, listen, this was not being insulting or joking. He was complimenting her. And she took it nicely and came back. But we were like, that's not what you say to a girl. Amitabh Bachchan, yes, good, but it's just not right, But it's quite charming in his own way, apparently.
Yeah, so I've heard.
But disappeared off the radar.
He did reappear for a bit during
He's
the
one
elections.
of the biggest icons of the 2000s in India, I feel.
Oh, he's played a role in many parties.
Yeah. He's supposed to be played a big part in the re-emergence of Amitabh Bachchan, like
the KBC re-emergence.
KBC era.
No, and at one time they were all together, no? Anil Ambani, him and Amar Singh, they were like inseparable.
They were Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara before the movie came out.
But they could sing better.
Okay, let's do the last one. It was a funny story I came across. Bihar government engineer has been booked for working with 2 departments for 28 years. This guy held the profile of a assistant engineer in the building construction department as well as an irrigation department in Bhimnagar. This came to light when they asked for some sort of documents for his approval, PAN card or something, and he was holding 2 jobs for the last 28 years.
Why is he booked? He should be applauded, right?
Yeah, I think
you can't work.
I think someone should study him because this is great. I mean,
he's missing since this came to light.
He's got
a third job.
He should start a hustling course at Patna University or something, man.
But was he
really? You're right. Actually, you look at it as a thing to study and say, "Wow, it's not bad." I need 28 years. If you fool people, you're special. I would say he's off the hook.
Well, I wouldn't.
28 years.
Yeah, so here's the question, right? I mean, so there are 3 options over here in terms of what could have happened, right? So number 1 is one guy pretending to work 2 jobs, not really working, right? Number 2 option is identity theft, where basically somebody else has taken his identity and gone. Third option is, remember the stories we used to hear about in Bombay where, there would be a municipal sweeper who would be hiring somebody else to do the job on her behalf?
On the name.
Just
put the name there.
Just put the name there.
And the poorer person does the work.
Yeah. And so then
shell companies and anything else,
So, I mean, it could be that also, right? Where that guy basically like, you know what, I can get the job on my qualification, but then let me get somebody else to actually do it.
And he's a humanitarian. He's helped his poor cousin who has only 1 leg and 1 eye.
He's actually making it in India.
Yes, he's helped somebody who would not get a job because of society's cruel ways. Again, he needs to be commended and given a prize. 2 villages named after him, maybe a state. This is where I want this.
His name is the most common, Suresh Ram.
It'll be tough.
Ask
him to take the name Pinky from today. And we'll give him 2 cows. We'll try and give him a state. We'll see what we can do. We'll talk to people. But this is the great Indian mind that I love the most. Only we can do this, I feel. We have that ability to somehow find a way through systems. It's just the way we are. We just manage.
The closest I've come to this is I buy a return ticket and for the return journey give it to a friend who's going back. That's the closest level of corruption I have.
Okay. How do you do that?
On what? In a plane, if you tried that, it'll arrest both of you.
In a train.
Oh, you still not hit the big time.
No.
Well, he went to London.
But he came back.
That's true.
They don't check ID. The TCs don't check ID on a train.
No. Your ticket has no information of your...
But if they want to, they may. Then?
I mean, you're talking local train.
Yeah.
Local train, okay.
Yeah.
This cheap bastard.
You're over-assuming even my age there. Thanks, you guys.
There's only 1 trip he's giving for free. That's Kashmir, right?
Malad Charni Road, guys. Malad Charni Road.
Okay. That I get. That's fine.
Charni Road. That's the disaster to come out of.
Why? It's so sweet.
They all come out. Nobody uses that bridge. Have you seen the overbridge?
Charni Road is not.
What are you going to the east
Marine Line, not Charni Road. Charni Road is not bad, yeah.
Charni Road is beautiful.
Overbridge.
I've never done the overbridge.
The one outside Safi Hospital.
Yeah. Correct, it's empty.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, I had to go to Wilson College, so I was on the other side of the station.
Oh, you're going to Wilson?
Yeah. Huh? For my junior college, I was in Wilson.
Wow, and that is you coming
Wilson in my dad's time was the best boxing.
I have heard this so much.
Best French, best English literature.
It used
and boxing.
It used to be the Xaviers before Xaviers became Xaviers.
Yeah, and bigger than Xaviers. Yeah, bigger than Xaviers, but when 1950s,
50s, 60s, 70s.
So when your parents met or their grandparents met or whatever, it was huge, and then you come now.
Yeah.
Now it's not good. Yeah.
So then
now it's like roadies. Bombay style.
Oh, it's so... Roadies is a high praise for Wilson right now, trust me.
Terrible time.
Yeah.
And now they've adopted Chapati Beach opposite and all the events are happening there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's now just a big studio where college is a side business.
Yeah, every weekend. Yeah. Superb. Yeah. Great stuff.
Let's go to the AMAs. We have a lot of questions.
AMAs coming up soon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also, just a reminder, if you like what you're listening to, take a screenshot of what you're listening to and tag us on social media, and we will repost your post. Also, please do tell a friend if you're enjoying a podcast which you think a friend would enjoy. Do tell them. I think that is something that really helps us. I think that we do see, increases in listenerships when you guys do that. So please do tell friends that you are enjoying what podcast you're listening to. Last week, we launched a new show called Agla Station Adulthood with best friends Ritasha Rathod and Ayushi Amin. They talk about their journey into adulthood. On the first episode, they discuss crushes and female friendships, and on this week's episode, they try to crack the code on how to adult. You can also catch Ritasha and Ayushi on This Week Cyrus Says, where they talk to Cyrus about the podcast, what constitutes acting like a grown-up, and Ritasha gives Cyrus detailed instructions to reach Mud Island. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma is in conversation with economist Mohit Satyanand about what constitutes the economic crisis. On What a Player, Akash and Siddharth are joined by fellow comedian Harmanpreet Singh. They talk about fast bowler Jofra Archer, the India-West Indies series, Ravi Shastri getting reappointed as coach, and a whole lot more. On the Edges and Sledges cricket podcast, Ashwin, DJ and Varun discuss the Gale Storm, Shreyas Iyer's beautiful knock, Virat Kohli striking a century, Steve Smith's injury, and a lot more. On The Origin of Things, Chuck narrates a short story about an old brand. It might just be the shortest podcast in IVM history. Check it out. On Marbles Lost and Found, Zen and Avanti are joined by podcast producer Janam Diwan for part 2 of dealing with grief and loss. On Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Anirudh and Janice discuss Netflix originals Glow and Orange is the New Black, which are back with new seasons. On Keeping It Queer, Naveen and Farah talk about the differences and similarities between gay dating and straight dating. Their guest is Mansher Singh, a writer and web series creator. On our Kannada podcast, Thale Arate, Dr. Chandan Gowda joins Surya and Pawan for a conversation on the cultural politics of development in Mysore. This week on the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik Nagarajan talks to the founder of Kriya, Praveen Shekhar, about professional speaking. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Okay, Mikhail, what a player you turned out to be.
Hey, yeah.
No, what a player should mean that you basically, ghumao the ladies. It's got that, that's what it means.
They're 3 players.
Yeah,
So
we
is
will
that what you do?
give Hardik Pandya the Water Player of the Week award one time.
Wow.
That will happen.
But the irony is he got gumaud by Karan in a sense. Who's the player now, boy? Yeah. Okay. AMA time with Abbas, the voice of doom.
Okay, this one comes from Manan Sethna. Hey Cyrus, I'm a big fan of your Cock and Bull episodes. I usually listen during my rides to college. My question...
Journey Road. Gets out of Journey Road and he's completely crazy. Huh?
My question, are you a petrol head and which car do you own?
No, I'm not a petrol head at all. The way we are brought up middle class India, how can you be a petrol head? We always think about the cheapest option. I always think about it. I don't know, am I wrong? But I know a lot of people do that.
But are you qualifying a petrol head as a person who owns and drives multiple cars?
No, I think a petrol head is a guy who actually is more interested in the car performance in terms of, what a beast the car is.
Okay.
While the cheap guy...
This would make most Parsis not petrol heads then.
No, it's a mix. Parsis are a mix because if you have that obsessive gene, then money is not a problem. You sell your mother, father and sister to get a Norton bike to sit on.
I'm about the aspects you talked about, just performance, getting the most out of the car.
Yeah.
This is not what most Parsis appreciate about cars. They like the long-term relationship with the car and maintaining it and the continuity.
That is another point. I think what he's trying to say is that you're looking at, is it a factor when you buy your car or you look at your car?
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know, the middle class gene in me is very strong. I always look at this electric thing, I'm praising the Prime Minister. I'm saying, please do it. Put these electric points everywhere, what do you call them, stations everywhere, and give us electric cars. And then give me a strong person to push. Because it only lasts.
That's the problem with CNG also. Outside Bombay, you can't go.
But labor, we'll solve the labor problem. Raju, come.
Oh, he was walking away after you pissed next to him.
If I put my hand out, you know what happens.
All right.
But once again, let's ask everyone. You drive?
I drive, yes.
So, do you think about all these?
On the factor that if I had to buy a car, would performance be a factor?
Yeah.
Perhaps not. But do I love and adore cars and have they adorned my walls? Yes.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that then you love cars. So, the petrol is the car. Diesel.
Ironically, I'm a diesel head.
How can that be?
Oh, dude, I love the talk on diesel. I just love the talk on diesel.
Are you just a comedian? Poor man's petrol, not anymore. Now everybody's a poor man. It used to be the distinction between the two.
There was no wrestler named Big Petrol Man. To be honest, there was a wrestler named Big Diesel.
What about Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel, again,
world's greatest actor,
and the greatest petrol head. That's Vin Diesel.
Are you sure we don't have a petrol somewhere? Google. I'm sure we'll find a petrol who's a celebrity.
No one's a petrol man. Petrol is used too often. There's petroleum jelly. Jelly is used in conjunction with it. That's not.
Why? Why go there? What career moves are you doing? What a player you turned out to be. Hardik Pandya.
Every Wednesday, guys, don't forget.
I'll tell you one thing. If Petroleum Jelly wants to be the sponsor on the show, we'll take it.
Yes, we will.
And we'll say whatever they want to say. And we'll keep only men on the show if that's what they want. I'm not saying that's what they want. I'm just putting it out there as an option. Why not? We've got to... Look, we need a lobby.
Contact us, Vaseline.
Abbas, quickly.
Yes, next question.
We can have both. Before and after.
Okay, this one comes from Trina Sen. Hi, I'm an illustrator based out of Kolkata. Sometimes at work, I sneak in your show with headphones and end up stifling laughter. Your show is the best antidote to boring meetings, which reminds me, what are your opinions on meetings, given that we humans tend to get so less done in these meetings?
Here's my point on meetings.
So her solution to that is I wish we could cock and bull it at work and arrive at a decision.
Yeah, I think you don't need more than 5 minutes for any meeting. Honestly, I hate those meetings where people present things with PNP or POPs or whatever they're called, and AVs and CVs, and then somebody brings a file from somewhere and then they retro look at what happened in the 60s. And I mean, they just go on and on. People want to hear their own voices. Building meetings are the worst. Everybody wants to talk at a building meeting. It's a pipe. Get the contractor, fix the pipe. But 27 people talk for that one pipe.
I actually heard a new leaf pipe is out in the market and it's the best pipe available and it'll just go on from there.
It'll go with the petroleum jelly ad. So we can do both.
But it's a great episode.
Buy your pipe, get your jelly. Huh?
It's a great episode for this question to come up because we just discussed how someone was booked for negligence at work. And if you're listening to Cock and Bull at work...
Quick, anybody on meetings? Fast.
I think meetings are important. I think that it is...
but don't you think we spend too much time on them sometimes?
No, people give meetings a bad rap. A well-run meeting is important. You need to have meetings on a regular basis. To say that meetings are dumb is...
Not dumb. I'm saying that you take too long.
Well, so a lot of them do. So, but that is the thing, right? A well-run meeting is a good meeting. A badly run meeting is not a good meeting, right? It's important...
I think you get exhausted if you spend too much time doing other things, then the crux of the issue is not looked at.
Well, that
happens a lot of times. You skate, we talk about life, cricket, football, politics, and the crux doesn't happen. You're already tired, your stamina's gone, your energy's gone, you're not there for the fight.
But
then.
That's a bad meeting.
Get to the point.
That's a bad meeting, right? A good meeting is generally something that takes place in we have a tradition over here of keeping an hour for a meeting. No meeting needs to be an hour. Most meetings can be basically 20 minutes, right?
I would take it further. I think meetings and meetings should be the same time period. And where I come from, ladies and gentlemen, meeting ain't going to take more than 90 seconds.
Trina has asked us to give a shout out to her partner Shrey Chandra because she introduced her to Cyrus.
Thank you, Shrey.
Hi, thank you, Shrey. God, we sent a couple of girls in high school. Shrey, we love you. Keep it real.
We're going to thank everybody who writes in and says that they've been introduced by somebody else. Everybody who does that, we should thank.
We should.
It's a word of mouth thing, man.
And
it's a
rephrase that, but
yeah. I saw his face immediately and I was like, he has not interpreted it the way you meant to.
All right, the next one comes from Gaurav from Bangalore. I really wanted to tell you that I'm also a big fan of your sound engineer Shravan. I think he does a great job, particularly...
Yeah? Well, where is he now? Salah shaadi ke baad dekha bhi nahi. He just took off. I mean, how long can your honeymoon be, brother? Really, honestly. And let's be honest, we've all seen Shravan. How long is the wife going to stay?
Oh my God. He's a very nice boy, Cyrus.
He's a lovely boy.
Yeah.
Who beat up two guys in the building over motorcycle space. Which doesn't exist, by the way, as a concept. Because you just put it anywhere. Yeah.
The reason he likes Shravan, he says, is because particularly when there's any kind of recitation by the guest, the sound quality is very good. It just takes you on a different realm, is what he says.
I think there's a relative. It makes no sense why you praise this man so much. It just makes no sense.
Kudos to Shravan, he says. Then he comes to his question. Cyrus, do you think one should ban all app-based delivery fleets, with all due respect to the profession and the people, during particular hours within a day? It would go a long way to control the traffic and motorcyclists on the road.
Fuck off.
I was so into this question until a certain point.
Yeah, he went off target. I thought he was talking about the communal issues and all during delivery and stuff.
No, I thought this was the only other person I know who's against app-based delivery. I'm like, where is this person? And then they were like, during certain hours, I was like,
what is wrong with app-based delivery?
Why are you against it?
I'm like, everyone just get your own food, man.
Because Mikhail...
That is exactly what people are doing with that.
No, like...
As you go out and get your food.
I just find like...
Mikhail, were you rejected by one of them?
I have never downloaded
like Hitler. Hitler was a failed artist apparently, and that caused a lot of trouble. But tell me honestly, you go to Scootsy, you apply for a job and they said long hair. No,
that's not what happened. I've never downloaded an app-based delivery app.
Are you serious? Sound like Cyrus like 5 years ago. I never had a mobile phone.
Abraham, technologically challenged. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. I'm anti-tech. Okay, that's different. He's anti the concept of app.
I'm anti progress in tech. Like when I was born.
Then you anti-tech.
The tech that I grew up with was enough. My life was comfortable
Anti-progress in tech is anti-tech only.
No, but I don't know
it's
mobile
not like
phones.
Cyrus is against VCR.
Yeah, what a hat I'm okay with, man. You suck.
It's like saying you're against comfort. Like here's this service which is...
No, I was happy with the comfort. I'm like the further comfort is just unnecessary.
I still don't understand. Why do you not like the app?
I don't understand this.
Do you also believe we should only watch movies in single screen theaters?
Oh, dude, I swear I believe that. I swear if there is that option to do
Single
that.
screen theater.
Yeah.
So you only watch Dabangg.
As in, don't watch
another movie.
No, Fast and Furious was running in
Do
Gaiety,
you not
man.
watch
What are you
it?
saying?
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Hobbs and Shaw was
How
like
is
all over
Gaiety a single screen?
Exactly.
I mean, okay, it's 7 screen, but like it has the charm for single screen.
Do you not watch films on your laptop
Gaiety
or
is a
your
7 screen
phones?
theater.
Yeah,
I do.
It's got
So
Gaiety,
then-
Galaxy,
But
and
you have no clue
others.
how much I torrent Abbas.
Do you watch porn?
No, not anymore actually.
No, he buys magazines.
Not anymore actually.
You've never watched porn.
I have, but like not
But you've
anymore.
stopped it.
So
Yeah,
did
it
you?
was
Did
Ever
you?
since you wore the cloth, what? What are you saying?
No, but so then don't watch movies on your phone and on your laptop. That's
No,
also,
I did that as a child. I torrented movies and watched on my laptop.
So you
Define
he's
child.
exhausted with tech. He wants a break.
Yes.
That's all he's trying to say.
I want to stay out on tech.
Yeah. He's saying Scootsy.
Stop
2
progress.
years. 2 years.
Stop
and then he can come
innovating
back.
every day is the
It's like
line.
China. You want a 2-year break and then come back, is it?
Yeah, something like that would be lovely, man.
But how do you get your food and stuff now?
I cook it.
You cook your pizza.
Why? I don't have. I ate pizza like day before yesterday for the
What
first
do you
time.
want to say? Domino's Pizza? Do you use tech?
I call the number.
So phone is allowed.
Yeah, phone. Whatever was around
Landline
when-
phone is allowed, but mobile is not allowed. Let's be clear.
No,
Let's be
mobile is
clear.
also allowed. Whatever was around when I was born is allowed.
It's a very,
And
very.
you're
What
calling
year
other
were you
people
born?
right-wing fascist. This is a nutcase.
This is absolutely
This guy is a comedian. He's the most evil man of our time, sitting in front of us. And even the mustache, now when I look at it,
No,
it
see-
reminds me of someone.
Segregate everyone by
You
age.
know what you sound like,
What?
right?
Concentration camp because we don't like tech or like
No,
tech.
like there's a country of just 18-year-olds. There's a country of just
Welcome to
19-year-olds.
Auschwitz. There's no
this is-
Scootsy here. What are you saying?
That's a source of a lot of tension in society. Right? Old people are look at these young people doing whatever they want, and young people are look at these old people stuck in their ways. So reorder the entire world by age. This was my
So
concept.
you're saying there's a
My
gap
God.
being caused by technology and he's bridging
His
it. I like
the
ideology
seed-
is
the
the
seed-
same ideology of that of Al Qaeda. That the previous time was correct.
Yes,
that
let's
we
go
should
back to the
reorder.
caliphate.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not saying you subscribe to my time. I'm saying you have your own time, just away from me, just not next to me.
Okay,
Very
I think it's a
complicated.
democracy and he's
You're
entitled to
allowed
have
not
an
to use
app-free
a
life.
food app.
Which I don't.
Yeah, so you're allowed to do that. Nobody's saying no. If you want to live your life,
But if water player got a sponsor from, say, Scootsy or one of these,
Then we will be ordering
What would you do?
food
Because
inside
you're
the-
against it, so we can't take that sponsorship.
No,
What?
They're not paying me to
no.
use. They're not
What does
paying
that
me-
mean?
They're not paying me
But
to use the app.
you're making people go out and use them.
He's saying he can promote it, but he won't use it.
You will promote it and not use it.
Why are you putting me in a situation? I'm not
Welcome to
getting?
India. Welcome to India.
Why am I not getting the money but facing the dilemma?
Welcome to India. You're beautiful.
I'll let's take one more quickly. This one comes from Nihar Mehta, whose titles I want to read out before I read out her question.
Titles?
She's a PhD postdoctoral fellow, Radiation Oncology Branch, Center for Cancer Research, National Cancer Institute, Bethesda, Maryland. Okay.
Wow.
Her question
Is she
is.
drinking? Because why would she be on this podcast?
This is her, she mentioned the title at the end, so I read it out. Hi Cyrus, big fan. I'm an ardent follower of your podcast. I also like Amit's strong opinions and Abbas's humor. You clearly
Abbas's humor you put in? Is it in pen? Mikhail, check. Pen malagu.
You clearly seem to be very knowledgeable about politics. Your opinions make a lot of sense and you seem very sorted with
Who
your
are you talking
idea-
about?
Him, you. And you seem very sorted with your ideologies. I love how you don't miss even a single chance of taking a pot shot at our current government. You are also unapologetically liberal and democratic in your thoughts and views. My question to you is, have you ever considered entering politics? Has that thought ever crossed your mind? If
Yes,
then why haven't you done anything about
I
it?
wanted to, but Subhash guy didn't give me an audition. But what do you mean entering politics? It's not that simple. You can just enter like ding dong, I'm here, let's do some politics.
But
Like that.
since Sanjay Dutt has chosen the Shepherd community, if you
First I have to find an English speaking party. You know how difficult that is? It's going to be really difficult. Plus people like you to support me who hate tech, so we don't use tech. So now we've got to reach people the old way. Mikhail and Cyrus, come on, vote for us! And all across, BJP, Congress and all, millions of people, millions of followers. We got 3. And that's the Scootsy guy who lost his job because he listened to you, your podcast. Sorry, what was the question?
Have you ever wondered entering
But
politics?
my
or
father,
considered
when I
it?
was younger in the 90s, he came home from office one day and said he wanted to enter politics and join a party and stand for elections. So I got 5 of my friends, because he used to smoke at that time. So 5 of my smoking friends over to cool him down. And they all smoked together, cigarettes, and had a drink and all that. We were in college, underage. Shouldn't have, bad person, dad. Shouldn't have done that. And we cooled him down. But he was serious. I want to change the country and all that. And he was sober at that point. But by the time he got drunk, he realized it was wrong. Thank God. It was scary, man. That really happened.
But it's a challenging thing, right? I have a friend who was thinking about joining politics. Actually, did some stuff in the political space, and family was not supportive, right? Because I'm talking like nuclear family. No, not
sorry, I just thought maybe.
So the immediate nuclear family was not supportive because the thought was that do you really want to get into a space which is this dangerous?
And we sort of look down on politicians, you know.
We kind of do.
Deep down, educated India is like, how can you be a politician?
Yeah.
Until you show the money. Huh.
Oh yeah, I think that makes a big difference.
Why didn't you become a politician?
Where?
Oh, that's right. He's American. Yeah, you might actually do well.
Jersey.
No, I don't
Jackson Heights has its own constituency. Only Indians. It's like 90% Indians.
No, I think I'm not very politically minded in that sense. I like to talk about shit. I don't like to do shit.
Yeah.
So
I want to wear a bikini. I was just thinking that maybe that's not the right way to go if you go into politics.
The political party symbol can be a bikini.
What does it represent and stand for?
You know how many Indian men need bikinis?
None.
It's a serious issue. Abbas, show your picture.
Okay, very quickly. This one comes from Gaurav Hanwal. Hey Cyrus, this is your fan from Ramgarh, Nainital. Wow. Please tell me about your workout routine. What piece of advice would you give to someone like me? He says I am 20 on paper.
Well, how are you 20 on paper?
That's what he says.
As opposed to what?
20 stone?
No,
he must be 22, but his birth certificate
says 20.
Yeah.
So then how does that matter?
Jim Corbett country.
22 is what is important.
I don't know how it matters. He just said it.
They don't trace my Jim Corbett story. Have you been to Nainital?
Yeah, I have.
There are no tigers left, but what a place. Wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful place.
I want to settle there. What's
workout routine? Gaurav Hanwal.
You get up, you scratch. You go back to bed, scratch. You get up again, you scratch. I was just telling somebody, I've reached that point in my age when I'm lying in bed on a Sunday and I actually debate whether I should move my leg. You know, and age gives you that perspective. You know, you actually think about things like, should I get up? Should I move my leg? Should I actually reach for the remote? I actually shout out to my daughter who's upstairs.
Okay.
Maya, can get the remote. And she comes down and sees it's right next to me and she gets really angry and goes back. These things, not out of any malice, it's just out of age. But coming back, if he's 20 on paper, I think the hormones are the best, so you should work out like a bull right now for the next 10 years. Doesn't need too much in terms of chemical enhancement. And eat like an animal. But I don't know, it's difficult to compound movements.
Yeah.
Squat. Bench.
I like to mix up whatever I'm doing. So if I have 3 months at the gym, then I'll do 3 months at the pool. Then 3 months running. I'm too scared of getting stuck in one thing.
Fair enough. And plus there's the tech issue you have. So you'll have to put the thing on, put the switch on, put the switch off. It's too much.
No, treadmills are around. Treadmills
allowed?
Yeah.
Treadmills allowed?
Yeah.
Okay. What if the delivery boy comes on a treadmill and delivers the food? I mean, technically, meets halfway. Just so that, what happens to your family if they say, today is somebody's birthday, Mikhail, can you organize food for us? So you'll have to go to the market and actually pick up food.
No. I'll Google the place, I'll get their phone number and I'll call them. And if they have a delivery boy, they'll send it. If they don't have a delivery boy, they don't have my business.
That's good actually, because if you're willing to pay for delivery, 80% will give you the delivery.
Yeah.
They charge you delivery.
I don't expect free delivery. I'll pay you for delivery. But I just don't want a third person between me and you, the person who's cooking my food.
Why do you not want the free delivery?
Because you're going to hug the guy.
No, I just don't want to get into the complication of now my food is late. Do I contact you? Do I contact Zomato?
No, you contact the app that you ordered from.
This is just too much.
He said no, Amit. Don't bully him.
It's not
he wants to go the old-fashioned way.
At Zomato, do I contact the guy in the call center? Do I contact the guy who's handling the food?
No, it's just whoever you feel like.
No, it's just too. I feel like contacting the restaurant.
There's no complication here. I don't.
It's okay.
The restaurant
will
say the guy left. So then what?
Yeah, I accept that because I'm used to accepting that.
Anyway, young man, take it down. So compound movements all the time. Don't shirk them. You have to bench. You have to squat. Try and do bump to floor unless your knees break, and you have to bench.
What do you guys think about the Zomato goal thing? All that's going on with
We're having 4 conversations, so whatever he gets, he gets.
Yeah, no. You heard about the Zomato goal controversy?
Yeah, so that's going on.
Yeah, so what do you think about that?
No, so that's the whole issue. Some of these restaurateurs have actually said no or have suspended them. So he comes back into play. Mikhail's thinking is correct.
No, but then that is, they say no, they don't get the
this is like a guilt thing. You have to figure this out.
Gold is another thing, right? Like you are in a place and you want to go somewhere, and then if you be like, I can go here, but then here it's 2 plus 2, there it's 2 plus 1.
No. For the customer, it's damn good, brother.
Yeah.
It's too good to be true.
Yeah, but it's good in the monetary sense. But there's just too many decisions that I would rather have be simple of those magnitudes.
So it's decision fatigue for you more than anything else.
Yes.
Too much choice.
Okay.
Kind of.
All right. That's.
What are you talking about? You all live with your mother at home. Not just make a cook.
No, when you want to go out, man.
Take her with you. It's not so uncommon.
Okay, let's take one last question. This one comes from Vikram. Hi Cyrus, in my previous mails I have called you by a lot of names, leftist, fascist, commie, etc. But that was more in jest and you remain what you are, a rock star. So my question to you today...
That's just two. Next email here. That's what I meant to say. No rockstar.
So my question to you today is this. Where would you prefer to live? And he's given you 3 options. Option number 1, US of A led by Trump, but with only veg food available. Number 2, India led by Modi and the BJP, but without the two-wheelers and pedestrians. Number 3, a sprawling bungalow in Antigua, which is at risk of getting razed any time by the authorities, as that is owned by a certain diamond merchant who ran away from India.
Mehul Bhai, personal friends. Very good questions, difficult. I don't see how governments affect you if you're doing well. Frankly speaking, the rich are rarely affected by governments, and there's some policy decision on their particular lobby, it gets affected, like you say, petrol and in the petrol business. But having said that, so I think there's no issue. I'll live in all these places. If I'm super rich, Donald Trump doesn't really come into play.
It's like Dave Chappelle says that people ask me what will happen if Trump becomes president again. It's like probably another tax break.
Really. And if they remove the two-wheelers, I just want them to... There's a civility issue which I have more than anything else. If they can just follow the rules a little bit, not always, a little bit, I'll be okay. Yeah. So I could stay in India too. My problem with India is more the heat. Okay. And about the vegetarianism, I want to be vegetarian. My heart is in vegetarianism. I just don't know how to give up meat.
So then go for the sprawling.
I had the Impossible Burger. Freaking good.
Veg?
Really good.
How much did they charge?
Plant-based. No, it wasn't that much.
Shall we tease Mikhail? You can get it on Scootsie.
It was, I think a normal burger was like 13 and this was 14 or something like that. So it wasn't that much.
Dollars, by the way. You're taking your hands into your pocket right now? No, man. So 13 rupees gets you nothing.
It won't even get you a vada pav.
You won't get a call to Scootsie.
Yeah.
There you go.
The vegetarian one costs more, is it?
So I was looking at 2 burgers. I was looking at a beef burger and then I saw the...
you just lost one whole market.
That's okay. That's right. And then I saw the Impossible Burger, and the Impossible Burger had more stuff on it, but was $1 more expensive than the plain beef burger.
Okay, anybody's got another point quickly here? If you're rich, anywhere's good, right?
Yeah.
What's the big difference, honestly?
I think in this particular scenario, I would pick India, because vegetarian America would be a sucky America.
Yeah, in any case, all they have is ketchup.
Yeah.
For vegetarians.
And French fries.
Oh, I love French fries.
Yeah. And then there's the McWhopper, the Veggie Whopper. Now,
okay, now I'm really hungry, man. Let's stop this show. Scootsie, who has...
Call someone. We'll call anyone. Rajasthan.
Noorani's?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, Noorani. Bolo.
It's actually a very accurate imitation of the guy at Noorani.
I've been doing Noorani since I was a child. I know by heart.
Mikhail would know because he's the only one still calling.
Oh, yeah, I once went to Noorani's with Abbas.
No.
Really?
Yeah, and you ordered dabba ghosh.
If you...
When was this? I do not remember.
This was after a gig.
What kind of Muslim are you, Baba? You don't even know
what is good.
What, yaar? Noorani.
Dabba ghosh is good.
It's really good.
Noorani!
Noorani dabba ghosh is really good.
You're forbidden to come into your own studio from now on. Madness.
Vikram has said some very nice things about us. So
okay, go on. Hurry up.
He signs off by saying a big shout out to Abbas for being the ever so cool moderator and to Amit for creating IVM.
Okay, thank you.
So whoever likes us, apparently really likes us, we should be worried. It's a small community, but they'll follow you. Dark streets at night. All right, that's all we have time for. Thank you. Mikhail, you've been wonderful. God bless you.
Thank you for having me, man.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Are you looking for India's most awesome cricket podcast? Are you now tired of listening to the same old guys drone on about cricket everywhere? Edges and Sledges is a weekly cricket podcast hosted by 3 fans of the game, Varun, DJ, and myself, Ashwin. It was established in early 2018, has over 60 episodes now, and is of course now proud to be on the IVM Podcast Network. Each week, we get together from 3 different time zones, the USA, the UK, and Singapore, and we talk about things from the world of cricket, with a focus on Indian cricket. We often interview special guests from all around the world, including former cricketers and cricket media personalities. So check out Edges and Sledges, the cricket podcast, now on the IVM network.
Hi, I'm Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter, and listen in to the Equity Sahiya podcast brought to you by Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company. The Equity Sahiya podcast offers deep investment insights into the potential of many sectors in India which are growing and have a lot to offer for your portfolio. New episodes out every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast app or any other app where you get your podcasts from.